What is up guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we'll be talking about how you can stop losing arena points in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 7, and how you can also maximize your point gain once you fix the issues that are holding you back. If you go on to enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like on it, and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more content just like this in the future. Also guys, I want to quickly mention that I've begun streaming on Twitch way more often over on twitch.tv/Teckoh. On stream, you can ask me any of your questions about improving at the game. I'll be playing a bunch of Champs Arena and stuff like that, as well as playing with viewers. So if any of that sounds nice to you, or if you just want to check it out, then it would mean a lot if you could go and drop a follow, that way you know when I go live. Once again, the link to that is twitch.tv/Teckoh, or you can find it in the description. But with that said, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So if you find yourself starting to lose points in arena, the most likely situation is that you've reached something called a skill plateau. A skill plateau essentially means that you're not becoming worse at the game, but also not really improving either. You're kind of just staying stagnant in your skill level. Chances are you might be getting a kill or two, or maybe even three, but losing afterwards and end up negative due to your bus fare, or maybe you're dying off spawn a bunch and relying on pop-off games to maintain your points. If you feel like you've reached a skill plateau and you're simply not improving at the game anymore, the most critical thing you need to do as soon as possible is figure out where exactly you're dying and why. Are you taking 50-50s off spawn maybe choking and losing the fight when you're in a box fight, or maybe you're simply missing shots in certain situations. Either way, what I recommend you do is save the replays of some games where you die in arena and look back at them after a day or two. Chances are if you take a few notes on the situations you ran into and how you died, then you're most likely going to notice certain patterns. Using myself as an example, I like to land really aggressive in arena, dropping places like Believer Beach and Pleasant Park, and the main reason I die is due to 50-50s or early game third parties. So if I were trying to improve that, I'd either have to find a new drop spot or figure out a way to play my drop spots to make sure I get good loot and try to minimize the risks of third parties. Overall, VOD reviewing some of your own gameplay can really give you a good understanding of what you're doing wrong, and from there you can actually develop a strategy to fix the issues you're running into and potentially overcome your plateau, whether it's an issue with aiming, fighting, looting, rotations, or something else. Another thing to consider with skill plateaus is maybe you're simply falling behind the overall skill level of the players in your lobbies. Maybe you're playing early game well, but simply getting outplayed in fights because the other players in your lobbies are simply better. As hard as it may be to accept, especially if you camped your way up the arena ranks, there's a good chance that the other players in your lobbies are simply better at fighting, and that means in order to improve and start flying up the ranks once again, you're probably going to have to take a step back and really nail down your fighting skill. In the past, I've always said that simply playing more arena is one of the best ways to improve in this, and that's certainly still true, but I also want to bring up another option, which is realistic creative fights. With the matchmaking system being really common in creative now, it's easier than ever to gain experience against all types of players, from beginner to advanced, controller and keyboard, console and PC, etc, etc. We all know by now that practice makes perfect, and my main recommendation if you're falling behind in fighting is to spend a bunch of time doing realistic 1v1s in matchmaking, simply rolling through opponents over and over regardless of their skill level, so you can fight all types of skill levels and play styles. Over time, you're going to become way better at the game through repetition, and your in-game skills should absolutely skyrocket. With that said, now that we've gone over some of the main issues that might be holding you back, along with how you can fix them from a purely skill standpoint, the next thing I want to discuss is how you can maximize your point gain as you fix the issues in your actual gameplay. Now, I have made 2 other arena videos this season already, so I do recommend that you check those out after this video since they have some really useful tips as well, but I'm going to give you some new tips right here as well as that. With that said, the first tip I have is to develop a proper early game plan. It's really important to nail down your early game, especially if you're trying to reach a high point threshold, and you should really try to determine as much as you can before hopping into a match. This might include which building you're trying to land at, where you're trying to rotate and farm after cleaning up any early game fights, which mobility you have available, etc, etc. The more you know about your drop spot and general early game plan ahead of time, the better your situation is going to be later on. If you're interested, I recently did a video about how to survive early game and win off spawn fights. That card is going to be on screen to that if you want to give that a look after finishing this video. With that in mind, my next tip to maximize your point gain, especially if you've struggled to gain points in the past, is to focus on only pushing fights when they're beneficial. I see too many players going for one of 2 extremes. They'll either camp the entire game, desperately trying to avoid any engagements with other players, or they'll do quite the opposite, completely W keying every person they come across with no regard for the situation. And to be honest, the best strategy for gaining points in arena is going to be in the middle of these. Obviously, certain situations situations call for pushing another player, such as when you urgently need a refresh, if you tag them to low HP and you're in a quiet area, and various other situations. On the other hand, there are also situations where you won't want to push fights, such as when you don't have enough HP, when you're coming across a fight that involves many players, as third parties are super likely, and other situations as well. Overall, you really just need to figure out your aggression strategy and determine a sort of standard to hold each situation to. When I come across a fight, I analyze a bunch of factors. I analyze my loot, my materials, my HP, how many opponents are around, my position in the zone, if I have enough time to fight, among various other things. I know that kind of sounds like a lot, but once you get used to kind of looking for it all, it gets really quick and it's super easy to do. Overall, your goal should be to take fights only when they're smart and have a benefit for you, and try to avoid engagements otherwise. Obviously, you may occasionally get completely jumped on and not have enough time to analyze your situation, and in that spot, your goal should be to heal up as fast as you can, try to figure out your situation, and then decide from there whether to go for your opponent or try to disengage. With that said, moving on to the next tip, this one is to try and find a good trio or duo to play some arena with. As you probably know by now, duos and trios are incredible for gaining points at this point in time, since the points per kill were set to 15 for both modes. If you're not aware, there were 7 for trios and 10 for duos before. There's still some debate going on about whether solos are better due to the consistent placement and the fact that you don't have to worry about teammates throwing, or if team modes are better because you can generally get more kills in total and the points per kill were increased. Either way, I recommend that you do a mix of both modes, and definitely try to find like a solid team to play some arena with, whether it's one other person for a duo or 2 others for a trio. Personally, I have a few really good people I've begun to play with in arena, and ever since then it's been way easier to gain points, as whenever I don't feel like playing solos, I can hop into duos and trios and I know I have reliable teammates I can win with. So overall, if you're getting worn out with solos, or you just don't prefer playing solos in general, I strongly recommend that you start looking for a team, and feel free to check out my Discord server down in the description, as we have tons of looking for group chats where you can find some awesome people to play with. Finally guys, my last tip for this part of the video is a very simple one, but one of the most important tips, and that is to simply play more arena. I know I say it a lot guys, but seriously, one of the best things that you can do to improve at arena is literally just to play more arena. Name any issue you're having in arena, and chances are playing arena can solve it. Getting nervous in game, arena is going to help you gain more experience and get used to high pressure situations. Bad at fighting? Well, you're in luck because arena is literally full of fighting. Dying off spawn? Then arena can help you practice your drop spot and spawn fights. Overall guys, one of the simplest yet most effective resolutions to pretty much any problem you can have in arena is to simply put in the time and practice, get used to the situations you're going to commonly run into, and by doing that alone, you should see some great progress. But with all that said guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video on how to stop losing arena points and begin gaining points fast. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more content just like this in the future. Believe it or not, only around 15% of my viewers are actually subscribed, so it would really mean a lot to me if you could hit that big red button to stay up to date on all of my new videos. Finally guys, once again, the Twitch link is going to be down in the description if you want to check it out, or you can simply go to twitch.tv/Teckoh, and I'll be doing a ton of things like playing arena, giving tips on how to improve the game, playing with viewers, and other things of that nature. With all that said though, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.